What does it mean to hold on to power? Today, we are looking at all four corners of the second largest continent on Earth, Africa. We want to understand what was happening in Sub-Saharan Africa during 1200 to 1450. Are we going to cover today absolutely everything that happened on this massive landmass? No. But is it the stuff they're most likely to ask you on the AP test? Yep. Similar to the previous video on the Americas, we only have one real question we need to get to the bottom of here. What are the big states in Sub-Saharan Africa, and how do they develop and maintain power in period one? Here are the four states we will look at today to help answer this question: Mali, Ethiopia, Zimbabwe, and the Swahili coast. Let's start with the biggest one you can see in the map there in the western part of Africa, the Mali Empire. Mali rose out of the ashes of the Ghana Empire along the Niger River. You might recognize these names as modern-day countries in West Africa, and they are. As these modern states formed in the 1900s, they sought to emulate the historical legacy of these former empires. That should form as justification enough that Mali was a powerful empire in West Africa during Unit 1. Centralized in the capital city of Timbuktu, Mali was economically successful by selling two main resources: salt and gold. Control of the vital trans-Saharan trade network to these resources led to regional political power. After all, when you have the gold, people tend to listen to you. Or silver, but that's a different video, we'll get to them. Islam also had spread from North Africa through the trans-Saharan trade network down to West Africa and become a common religious practice in the region. With our first empire we are studying here in Africa, we see a correlation between economic power leading to political power. Let's switch gears away from the banks of the Niger River and head east across Africa to the Ethiopian highlands. Ethiopia had been prosperous since their days of trading with the Roman Empire. And since the Romans are long gone at this point in history, Ethiopian civilization has been around for a long time too. It is through this initial trade arrangement established well before Unit 1 that the religion of Christianity spread to Ethiopia. The Romans, after all, were deeply Christian. Ethiopia was unique in that the surrounding region, back in Unit 1, had in modern day largely practiced Islam. Ethiopia has become an island of Christianity in a sea of Islam, metaphorically speaking. Ethiopia expressed their political power through large-scale architecture, like many other civilizations will do, and built large rock-hewn churches, believing themselves as descendants of King Solomon and trying to create a new Jerusalem there in Ethiopia. Coinciding with a similar pattern we see in Unit 1 for Ethiopia, states use belief systems to legitimize their power. Leaving the Ethiopian highlands behind, we travel south to the stone city of Zimbabwe and out to the bustling ports of the Swahili coast. I want to look at these two empires in this region in particular, but also for us to see how they're connected to each other. These large stone structures were the central hub of Zimbabwe civilization, Great Zimbabwe. Situated in a more central part of the South African region, they acted as a supplier of gold, ivory, and other luxury goods that they then traded to the merchants in the Swahili City-States. The east coast of Africa was populated with these cities that each acted like they were their own country. They had their own laws, leaders, and cultures. So while this coastline was a collection of different city-states that operated largely independently of each other, they shared a common economic agenda: trade, trade, and more trade. That connection between the two civilizations is important for us to understand, because it's going to make them both wealthier and thus more powerful in the region. The interactions between these two civilizations will also be a vehicle for the spread of Islam as well. The Swahili city-states became a blend of different cultures such as Bantu from Central Africa, Arab from the Middle East, and other influences from merchants that traded in their ports. Each of the civilizations we studied here in Africa operate very differently on the same continent. Maybe it isn't so much as which was more powerful, but how did they maintain their power in their unique contexts. Here's our quick recap for what we covered in today's video. Mali is in West Africa, a centralized state with control of trade. Ethiopia used Christianity to legitimize their authority. Zimbabwe was in southern Africa and traded with eastern Swahili city-states. Check out a resource guide for this video in the description below. Then go ahead and dive into my other Unit 1 videos. Have a great day!